Hi everyone, this is Silver the Hedgehog, and today I will be reading you all Bear in the Big Blue House Lost episode creepypasta. This was in a Spinpasta wiki. The Shadow Reader and the Shadow Lioness both read this story, but from what I gathered, they hated this story. I wonder why. Well, as a psychokinetic hedgehog 200 years from the future, I'm about to find out. Let's get reading. Some kids who watched Disney Channel in the late 90s to mid 2000s might remember a show called Bear in the Big Blue House. It aired on Disney Channel from 1997 to 2006. 1997 is the year Bailey was born. Right, Bailey? That's right, Silver. Anyway, I watched the show when I was around 2 to 5 years old, while my little brother was obsessed with that show after watching the VHS tapes. When I was younger, since 2003 until 2011, after finding one VHS tape that gave me nightmares to this day. During the early days of summer vacation in 2011, my mother and father left on a honeymoon to Hawaii, and me and my brother had to spend time at our grandma and grandpa's house in Hermosa Beach, California. 2 days before the nightmare, my parents left to Hawaii as the plane. My parents rode from my hometown in Minneapolis and stopped in Los Angeles. On the second day, in my grandparents' house, my brother demanded me to find him a Bear in the Big Blue House VHS tape to watch, because my grandma and grandpa were busy at their jobs at the pub. I keep my VHS tapes in a wooden box wherever we went, and dug into the box of VHS tapes, which consisted mostly of shows such as Thomas and Friends, Barney, Wallace and Gromit, Sailor Moon, Teletubbies, some classic movies, etc. I looked for some Bear in the Big Blue House tapes, but I found one that I'd never seen before. It was very old, and had dust all over the tape. The writing was written in Spanish with a yellow highlighter. It read, "Tenga en la casa azul. Temporada 3, episode 27. I'd taken Spanish class in 8th grade, 2 years earlier, and from what I could tell, it read, Bear in the Big Blue House, Season 3, Episode 27. I got out of my laptop and went on Wikipedia to check out the episode guide, and from what I could tell, something was odd. There was no 27th episode in Season 3, which I found strange. But then I thought that the episode was incomplete and was a draft, and I showed it to my little brother, saying this was an incomplete episode, never aired on television, which got him really excited. Before I put the tape in my grandparents' VCR. Oh, sorry. This is when the trouble starts. Instead of showing the previews on most VHS tapes, it showed a black screen with the text 18+, which was in Times New Roman. I ignored it, and it cut to the opening intro. The intro itself was very strange, as the quality was distorted, and something was in black and white, which I just ignored, thinking that the tape was in bad shape, since it had tons of dust on it. The title card appeared, and it was called, What to Do When You Are Depressed and Nothing Is Going Better. When I saw the title card, I was heavily confused and worried, thinking that this could be a possible suicide reference. It started off with Bear opening the front door as always, as the tape's quality started to improve. But something seemed a little off with Bear. Bear sounded drunk and had an annoyed look on his face. He said, Hi, come on in. He then enters the house and says, Why are you looking so depressed? Well, you aren't the only one who's feeling depressed. Apparently, Ojo has been having an unhappy time. Let's go see her. We then see Ojo crying in her bedroom of the house. but the crying didn't sound like the actress was acting out the crying. It sounded like it was actual crying. There was a noose next to the bed, along with a post-it note and a pencil. Bear asked Ojo, "So, Ojo, why are you feeling so miserable?" She replied with, "Things have not been going so well recently, and things are only getting worse, and I really don't want to talk about what's happening, but I just want to end it all." Bear then asked Trilo, Tutter, and Pip and Pop, some of the characters in the show, to come upstairs. Bear explained to them that Ojo was feeling unhappy, and she was going to commit suicide, and he wanted them to watch Ojo hang herself. Ojo then put the noose around her neck, jumped off the bed, and instantly died from a strangulation from the noose. The shot stayed there for around 20 seconds during that time. I told my brother, who was absolutely shocked from what he had just seen, to get out of the room. I decided to keep watching, thinking it had ended, but it didn't. Immediately after that terrifying shot of Ojo hanging, Bear ran to the door, slammed it shut, locked all the windows, blocking all the sunlight, and lit up a lamp next to the bed Ojo jumped from. And lit up the lamp next to the bed Ojo jumped on. After he locked all doors and windows, Bear yelled, "Too late to escape now!" I was confused, knowing that swearing was not supposed to be heard in the children's shows. Bear then got some Advil pills and a tube and walked to Trilo and said, "Another way you can commit suicide is by a drug overdose," as the word drugs appeared on the screen. Bear then put the Advil pills in the tube and shoved the tube in Trilo's mouth, similar to how ducks were forced to feed oats and grains for foil grass, as Trilo screamed at the top of his lungs in pain as the Advil was forced down in his throat, choking him to death. Bear then said, "Well, that was a bit unexpected," as something flashed on the screen for a split second, but I couldn't see what it was. I rewinded it frame by frame, and what I saw was horrible. It was a hyper-realistic picture of poor Trilo getting ripped in half by Bear and getting eaten in a very gory way, with blood coming from his mouth, which looked realistic. I went to the window and vomited outside. I continued the episode expecting the worst to happen. Bear then grabbed a knife from the cabinet and said, "Another way you could commit suicide is stabbing yourself." Tutter the mouse tried to break out of the window, but Bear jabbed the knife into Tutter's hand and forced the poor mouse to stab himself, as Tutter said, "No, Bear, don't do it! Oh, no, I'm dying!" Tutter collapsed dead with blood surrounding him. However, the blood did not look fake. It was either Kool-Aid or it was real. Pip and Pop, the two twin creatures, were the only other creatures left in the room, other than Bear, and were scared for their life, and yelled, "Bear, spare us, please!" Bear replied with, "Oh no, you ugly purple rats!" I thought that was... Bear grabbed a gun out of nowhere and said, "The last way I'll show you to commit suicide is to shoot yourself with a gun." Bear put the gun in Pip's mouth, grabbed his hand, and pulled the trigger, blowing his brains out, which looked like someone had donated their guts and brains to be blown up. Pip collapsed dead, with his body look similar to Squidward from Squidward's suicide, which made his twin Pop stand there shocked. Bear did the same to Pop. After Pop died, Bear went out of the room and asked the viewer where Shadow is as usual. Shadow appears, but Bear said, "Do you want to die?" Shadow was confused, but Bear got a knife at that moment and stabbed Shadow in the neck, with blood gushing from her neck with the same blood from Tutter's death, and died from blood loss 50 seconds after the stabbing. And this is where I will stop for part 1. Stay tuned for part 2 of Silver the Hedgehog reads Bear in the Big Blue House Lost episode.